and welcome to story time. No, cut. This not happening. Kudos to all the guys who do No Shave November. How do you go without shaving? And then you got hair everywhere. All right, welcome back to story time. This time beardless. So today's story time. Just like your crazy neighbors, Walmart, and almost every radio station, we're doing Christmas early, before Thanksgiving even, because I can't think of any interesting stories from Thanksgiving. You sit down, you eat a lot, you fall asleep. Yay, food time. All right, today's Christmas story, my second one. This is called What's on Your Christmas Tree? I changed it just enough so there's no copyright infringement on that. So, this story takes place obviously in Christmas time. Have you ever had an odd thing on your Christmas tree? When we were growing up, because I have 3 brothers, we were always making ornaments and putting them on the tree. And even if you're at school, if you've got kids or you are a kid, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You make ornaments at school, you make ornaments at home, whatever the case may be. But your parents or guardians always put them nicely on the tree, like they really matter, because sentimental moments, they really do matter. But they put them up there because they want to see them. Well, my household had a rule. My mom had a rule when it came to pets. And if you're going, how did you go from Christmas trees to pets? Welcome to my mind. So, growing up, we had different pets. We had guinea pigs, we had hamsters, as you know. My mother's rule was it has to have legs, which meant no snakes. Well, we enjoyed reptiles. My brother worked at a shady pet store, and he ended up getting some free lizards for us, some iguanas. He came home with a rather large one. We're like, yes, that's awesome. We all thought it was really cool. And he, like every week or every month, would bring another one home, and one of us would get one. Well, out of all the iguanas, mine was obviously the best. Go ahead, dispute it. We were all very into Greek gods back then, so we had Zeus and Loki. Well, Loki's not a Greek god. Deal with it. Mine was Hades. I loved my iguana. He was probably about, I think he started off maybe 3 feet or so, ended up going to, I want to say 4 feet. Don't hold me to that. This is a kid's memory. But he loved to climb. And he was a very chill iguana. Unless you had food for him, he was pretty chill, but he still loved to climb. So if you went to go put him on your shoulder, he was going to try crawling up on your head and whatever. Well, the first Christmas we had him, I thought, you know what? I'm going to put his little leash on him, and I'm going to let him go near the Christmas tree. Not a big deal. So I put him by the Christmas tree, and he just chilled under there for a little while. And one day we look up, and he has climbed himself around, and he's like nestled in the trees, or in the branches. And the 2 fun things that he would do is, one, he would go to the very top of the tree and he would just rest his head on the star. So he would rest his head on the tree or on the star and just be up there. Or he tended to go into the branch, but then he'd go far enough that only his tail was sticking out while the rest of his body and his head were back in the branches. Sometimes he'd pop his head out and have a look. But it was always kind of fun, letting the iguana out and watching him just climb the Christmas tree. And he would just chill there. It was kind of cool. So we would always laugh that he'd like knock something down, but he was pretty good at it. Why does this matter, you say? So, Christmas morning, we're getting everything ready. You know, after Santa had come and after everything was cleared out, we were getting ready to have family over. Aunts and uncles, cousins, grandparents. Well, everybody would come. We'd have like a buffet. There we go. Buffet style. In the kitchen, people would come in the living room. We would set up chairs and people would just eat, chill. The kids would go off, talk about toys or whatever else had come, and we would just relax. Sounds nice. So what happened this year was I walked upstairs and it was time to start getting everything ready for family and put chairs up, move things around, clear things out, set the tables. So I walked up and I had my iguana with me. I put him on the floor. I'm like, okay, go for it. And there was no place for him to run that we couldn't find him. So I let him go, and he obviously went to the tree. Well, I'm cleaning up, I'm putting out chairs. Family is now coming over. Everybody gets their food, we're sitting down, we're eating. Great time. Well, I also had my grandparents over. My grandma from my dad's side, grandparents from my mom's side. So, I was going to buy a wig, but didn't. So, my grandma, I want to say at this time she's probably 70, though I'm probably very incorrect, but hey, none of you can correct me anyway. So, my grandma is sitting there on the couch, eating and talking and eating. And my mom is sitting next to her just chit-chatting. And at one point, we start, you look up at the Christmas tree. Let there be light. See, I'm prepared. So she looks up at the Christmas tree and we're talking about the different ornaments that are up there. Like, oh, there's this big glass one that we just got this year. Or, there's this little sentimental one that like we made when we were 3 or something like that. So we're just remarking on some of the different ornaments on the tree. And my grandma happens to look up and she goes, "Where did you get that one?" And my mom goes, "What one?" She goes, "Oh, probably just the store. We bought a lot of them this year. Just something recent." And my grandma goes, "But it looks so real." And my mom goes, "What are you talking about?" And while my mom is still eating, my grandma gets up from the chair and she slowly walks over. And what she's seeing is what looks very real, a lizard's tail hanging down over the branches. Probably came down about this far. And it's got if you ever seen iguanas, you've got the brown and the green rings as they go down the tail. Now his body was hidden in the Christmas tree. But she looks over and goes, this looks so real. Huh. And my mom goes, "Which one are you talking about?" And she said, "Oh, well, this lizard tail." And just then she decides to stroke the tail and sit. And she goes, "It even feels so real and moves a little bit." Now, this is about the time when my iguana decides, hey, I was chilling here, probably napping, and goes, somebody's messing with my tail. So of course, what does he do? He brings up his body and his head right up to the edge and look to see what's going on. My grandmother, poor granny, as she's petting this tail and the iguana comes right up to her, almost face to face, yeah, because their eyes are on the sides, comes right up to her face and it's a, ooh, 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 almost stumbles backwards as my dad goes to catch her. But she, ooh, and everybody pauses what they're doing and pauses and looks over like, oh no, what just happened? Because when an elderly person is about to stumble backwards and is going, woo, woo, it stops conversation, thank goodness. So she paused and she goes, oh, and my iguana kind of like looks around and then just settles his head back down. Everybody else in my family was very used to this. My aunts and uncles, my cousins, when we all realized what had happened, we all tried not to laugh because it sounds mean to laugh at your grandma for that, but you could see everybody had a grin on their face. Thank goodness my grandma goes, oh, that's a lizard. That's very nice lizard. And slowly backs away from the iguana and just kind of sits back down. And at the point when she goes, oh, that's such a cute iguana, everybody felt like they could now laugh because grandma just got the crap scared out of her by the lizard in the tree. So my iguana just kind of looks around and just shuffles back a little bit, lays his head back down, realizing, hey, chill, it's just an elderly lady. I don't have to care. She's not going to do anything to me. So nearly gave my grandma a heart attack on Christmas morning due to an iguana in the tree. And of course, I felt bad because then I was told, well, hey, go put the lizard away. And I was like, but in my head, I'm like, well, it's not his fault that she technically accosted him, but I could see where she was coming from. So I picked him up. Now, if you know anything about iguanas, at this point, he is stone cold because they are cold-blooded. He's stone cold, doesn't really care. Went in and put him back in his terrarium and put the heat rock. And he was all chill with that. But for the rest of the morning, everybody wanted to remind my grandma about the lizard in the tree. Great times. There were many other great things that came from having an iguana. But that was one of my favorite Christmas decorations, probably by far, because it was alive, it was mine, and it would move. And I loved seeing him on top of the tree and he'd just rest his chin on the star. It was great times. But that's the story for today of what's decorating your Christmas tree. So that's mine. If you have a fun decoration or a fun Christmas story or something that came out of your Christmas tree, let me know. At least this was not like a cat biting on the wires of the Christmas tree. Well, anyway, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you liked it. Leave me a comment if you have any suggestions or you want to tell me your Christmas story or your favorite Christmas decoration. Have a wonderful day and thank you for coming to Storytime! But like, no, seriously, I don't understand how guys can deal with No Shave November. How do you deal with this? This isn't even real and it's a pain. How do you eat? How do you even eat with this thing? The maintenance alone would kill me. And I can't grow facial hair. I've tried. It looks terrible. How do you guys do this? God, you could braid this. Sup?